Welcome to the Right Path podcast, where being an actual author, still matters. This is the podcast that's for authors, it's about authors, it's by authors, where we share our journeys, we explore our creativity, and we examine the why behind it all. Our guest today is a wonderful lady that I have had the pleasure of interviewing before on another one of my podcasts. I am so pleased to have her back here today talking about her book. She is a speaker, she is an author, she's a disability advocate, and she is the author of Created to Relate Living Beyond Religion. And she has started her second book, which I cannot wait to hear more about. Please welcome to the show, Desiree Taylor. Desiree, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great and I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to have you here. I really am. Um, Tell everybody a little bit about who is Desiree and what brings you here today.
Well, I'm a wife. My husband Dwayne and I have been married almost 29 years, and we have two grown boys, Kyle and David. I am a writer and a speaker, and I am a mentor. My husband and I are very involved in our church, and I mentor and disciple young girls a lot. So that's the majority of what's going on outside of family right now.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. Your book, Created to Relate, Living Beyond Religion. From what I understand, this is a book about your journey. Is that right?
It is. It's
Okay.
it's mainly a, um it is mainly about my journey out of that life of legalism and wrong religious mindsets really into that transition to a relationship with Jesus. A book that helps people who may be in the same place and gives them some ways to move past it in their own lives.
Nice. Nice. Your story, if I remember right, your story starts when you were pretty young. Is that right?
Yes, I was about 8 or 9 years old actually when it started. Um, I mean, my mom always brought me to church, but it was really around 8 or 9 when, I'm thinking about what I'm hearing at church. I'm in school with different kinds of people who go to different churches or don't go at all. And just really coming to that place where I asked if and all of those things. But it started around 8 or 9. And I also got my first hearing aid at 9 years old. So it all kind of came together at once, really, or started close together.
Wow. Okay. You mentioned an issue with the legalistic aspect of church. Can you tell everybody a little bit about what that is and how that impacted you?
Yeah, I think a lot of it, in ways that we can understand it, is really there's this performance mentality where you can do these things, check these things off the list. I went to church today, I did this, I prayed, and all that. And that's what gets us to heaven, kind of a thing. Um, but the created to relate part talks about how God's created us for more than that. And God's created us for that relationship with Him and not just, He's not up there like some big bad judge with his gavel ready to slam it down on us, waiting for us to make mistakes. He wants to see us live life and live it abundantly and have victory in our lives. So it's a very different perspective than just saying, oh, I did this, I did that, and being a Pharisee type of person.
Nice. Nice. There's a lot of folks these days that are pursuing a relationship with Jesus as opposed to a relationship with the church in a lot of ways. And it sounds like that kind of fits what you're talking about.
It does. You can see people searching a lot, seeking to really know who God is, that's where it started for me. I see all these different perspectives, all these different ideas, and it didn't all line up. So I said, "Who are you?" And my whole life, he's been showing me who he is. So it's a really great thing to see people in that place because that is the place it starts, really.
Sure. The somewhere along the way, you decided you want to write a book about your life. What was it that got into you? Was it you being called to do it, or was there some other force that said, "Hey, Desiree, I want you to write a book about everything you've been through"?
Well, it was kind of, it didn't really start out that way that I wanted to write a book about my life. I really thought, I guess, my older son was graduating and it was a different, writing's always been something that I'm passionate about. So I started moving forward in that and started blogging. So it really started with the blogging. And then I guess I started dreaming about what it would be to write a book. But I'm kind of that person that feels like it's always, first can do this, but I can't do this. And I did feel God encouraging me to move forward in that, but I began the book thinking it was going to be about a little bit about my story, but encompassing other people's stories in there, that it was going to be more about other people than me. And as I wrote this book over 8 years, it changed. A lot of what I began with, I had to rip up and throw away. And um, there was a lot of times I really had to learn how to just write too and just put things out on paper without looking for perfection, um, which is part of what I've had to break away from in life in general. Not trying to be perfect, not trying to have a performance here, but really a genuine sharing of what I have to share with other people. So it ended up a little different than I thought it would be, but sometimes that's the beauty of the writing process, I think, because
Mhm.
we have our visions of things and sometimes it changes over time.
Right. Yeah, I love that you brought that up, the writing process. When you were writing the book, did you follow a plan for how you were going to write the book? Like, I'm going to sit down for an hour a day or something like that? Or did you write whenever something came to you, then you sat down and wrote? What was your process like when you wrote the book?
Well, I had to learn because, I'm the type of person that's better with like a 9 to 5 job. Like I go into the job, I know the hours I'm working, I have set expectations of me, and I just work better in structure. This has been challenging for me because I have to structure myself, so to speak. So I've done all kinds of things trying to find out what way works the best for me. And some days it was I just set time and just did what I could in that amount of time. Other times, I sat down and then nothing was coming. So I had to put it aside. And when things came, I would write them down. I learned how to write things down as I remembered them because a lot of times we think of things when it's not the best time to sit and write them. So I learned how to mentally, remember to take some notes. And, some days I just sat with it and I just cried. Like God showed me something and I had to really process some things as I was writing it. Some days were just processing days too. So um it took me, it just, yeah, it depended on the day. Like I have work hours some, but life is very disruptive and very brings a lot of distractions. So I've had to manage how to stay focused, but yet be willing to be flexible to make the right priorities happen in those days and trust that things that need to get written will get written when it's the right time. So that's kind of been my way of doing it.
Nice. When a lot of us sit down to write and we're trying to, write our story or, write a book about anything, actually, there very often is someone that we're writing the book to. or that we're writing the book for. And I'm curious if you had that. Who were you writing the book to?
Well, I definitely think I had a younger me there. Uh, I didn't have a lot of people. I've learned a lot of these things the hard way. I've learned a lot of these things through growing pains, and we all have to do that to a degree. But I did picture the younger me.
Mhm.
If I had had someone, what would I wanted them to do to help me through these processes that I didn't have? I think about people who've left the church. They've left Jesus because of people. Um, and to really help them see who God is and to encourage them not to leave him because of people, because people fail us. They let us down, they hurt us, and they leave us with some scars. So those were the main ones I was thinking about. I think about people who are seeking to, really wanting to give them the right perspective of who God is because I didn't get the right one. And he had to take a while to show me. And it took me longer because I was untrusting. I was very self-protective because I had been hurt so much through it all. And so I want to be someone, a voice that people can trust um, to lead them back to Jesus if they've been in that place.
Wow. I mean, j just that alone is really amazing. I love that that's the position that you're coming from. Um, in writing this book, do you feel like you were called to write it?
I do, and I believe it became what it was supposed to be. So I actually had someone ask me that the other day, would I go back and do anything different?
Mhm.
When there's things I wish I didn't have to take so long. I wish I didn't have a lot of things in the book writing process that I did, but I feel like there was purpose in it. And I feel like the book became what it was supposed to be. And my testimony is out there and those tools are out there for people. And no one can take that away from me now because it's published.
Right. Congratulations on that. So, when you set out to write this book, many of us have an idea of what it's going to be like. We think, hey, it's going to be great. I'm going to make all kinds of money. I'm going to influence all sorts of people. Um, in the process of getting your book written and published, how is it different in reality than it was the way that you were thinking of it beforehand?
Well, excuse me, sorry.
It's okay.
Um, that's a great question. Actually, I had a lot of dreams going through this process. Um, I mean, I think the excitement of seeing people read my book and actually buy it, I've seen the sales have been slow. I think the process of it and the cost of it has been more than I expected it to be.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I've had several people tell me that it's not really the money making place. Like writing a book is not, it's not, don't quit your day job kind of thing. So I, I, so I think it's a mixed bag for me. I think there's things that I dreamed about that I've loved. Um, and I love bringing my book to different places, um, and being able to talk about it. I love being on the podcast and talking about the process, talking about the book. And those things I wouldn't be able to do without the book. So that's really a beautiful thing for me. The financial end it's been challenging to market. I think marketing has been the less dreamy part for me. I love marketing. I love uh because I'll support anything and anyone that I know that I believe in and I'm behind. I mean, I do that so naturally. But the book marketing has been challenging. It's a tough field sometimes. It's very competitive and you really have to persevere. Um, So I keep on keeping on, but it hasn't been glamorous, the sales. So,
Gotcha. Gotcha. I appreciate your candor and your honesty in that. Now, when you went to publish, did you seek out a publisher or did you go to a hybrid or did you self-publish?
well, I ended up doing a hybrid. When I first got into writing, I got into a Proverbs 31 Compel program. So I learned a lot about traditional publishing, mostly. I heard about the other things. I was a little scared to do self-publishing because I had not done this much. And I did have nightmares of going to jail because I broke some law I didn't know about. Or so I was really kind of scared to do self-publishing. But and traditional publishing, I mean, I did some things there, but I think what it boiled down to for me is I want my rights to my book. And because that was a priority for me, and it was very important to me that this is mine and not belonging to someone else, that I went with hybrid. The hybrid way of doing it is I had a good experience. The people were wonderful. The cost was it was expensive. Um, but part of that is, you're paying to have the rights to your book.
Hmm.
So it depends what's important to you, I think. And because that was important to me, it was worth it in the end. I am thinking about it moving forward. I don't know. Like I love my book cover was very important to me because that is a first impression. Um, and it has been the thing that has drawn people into the book many times. So I feel peaceful about the way I did it. Um, and I know that things take time. It's only been a little over a year. You have to keep working this continually. And the benefit for me will be the second book is really tied to the first book. So then I can sell them in a pair probably. Uh, how I'll do it, I don't know. Because I have a lot of friends who've self-published and some people really love it. And so I don't know, I'm toying back and forth between do I go with the hybrid or do I try self-publishing? And I'm not against traditional publishing. Traditional publishing is wonderful. Um, and it can be a great thing. And the people I know who have traditionally published have done very well. So it really is I think it's just a very personal decision for people.
Sure, sure. I appreciate you sharing that. Um, Keeping the rights to your book is a very, very important thing to you. I can tell just by the way you're talking about it. Why is that so important to you? And what are you afraid is going to happen to your book, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, like a lot of people, when they send it to traditional publishers,
Hmm.
they tell you very upfront, hold everything loosely. So the fear for me was I didn't want to change my title. I wanted my title. Um, I liked my title. I really felt confident in my title. But if I went with a traditional publisher, they may have said to me, you have to change your title or we're not publishing. Um, the editing process. I don't want someone changing the message of my book. So I was very protective. That's probably the best word. Very protective of my title and the message in my book. And it was so personal to me. I didn't want anyone messing with that.
I love that answer. I had a feeling I was going to get an answer like that. I've had the absolute pleasure of interviewing you before, and so I know how important this book was to you. So I'm glad to hear that that's what was behind all of it. So good for you. I love it. Now, when you went with the hybrid publisher, if you don't mind me asking, what were some of the things that the hybrid publisher offers for folks who have not gotten into this yet? That may help them to in their decision-making process. So, what were some of the things they offered to you as part of what you were paying for?
Okay. Yeah. And it's like it is a very custom publishing type of way. So, like for me, I had had someone, um, a sweet friend of mine was willing to do the content editing for me.
Hmm,
So that was kind of a gift to me. So I had already had the content editing done. So I didn't need to pay them for it. They offer content editing, they offer copy editing, proofreading, all of those things. And they have packages for everything. They have PR packages, they have marketing packages, they have the cost of printing the book, and each book costs a certain amount of money. Uh, so it's those type of expenses. Anything that you need, they can do, but you don't have to do everything if you don't want to.
interesting. So you get to pick and choose some of the services.
Yes.
Nice. Nice. Okay. The second book that's coming out, is this a continuation of the first book, or is this a totally different topic and subject?
Well, it's connected. It's not necessarily the same. It's because the first book is about um, breaking away from the legalism, but that relationship with God, which is, our relationship with Him. But we were also created for relationships with one another and for community. And so this book is going to be focused on that aspect. So, we were created to relate in community. So the first book will be this way. The second book is this.
I like that. Okay. So it's sort of a continuation, but it's its own thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. I love it. The is the inspiration for the second book the same as what led you to write the first book?
Well, I mean, I think there's overlap, not necessarily, but in the first book, like in one of my chapters, it talks about, one of the areas was church life for me that changed because of um, my renewed mindsets and the way that God had worked in my life. So I was not very trusting of people. But I've also learned in this new church that he's brought us to is those different relationships. There's and then in my mentoring relationships, the experiences that um I have in ministry in life, I've learned a lot of things about that and really, really understanding how much we need people. I did realize that it's especially with my depression and when we went through COVID, I had a very real it was very real for me not being able to see people. Thankfully, I was able to do something at our church because we did chat since we couldn't be together. We did a chat and that kept me connected. The text kept me some connected, but I felt like I was going through withdrawal almost
Hmm.
because I didn't have some of those relationships tangible, the hugs and the all those things that come along with the relationships that we have. So it's a multitude. Some of it is overlapped from then, but it's also even what I'm living now.
Nice. I remember those days of COVID. Um, the Did you start writing your first book back then?
No, I had started before COVID,
Okay.
but I did write a bunch of it during COVID.
Okay. So COVID was a little bit of what you went through during the COVID scenario was definitely had an impact on the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha. Did it help you get through that? Did writing the book help you kind of almost, do some therapy and get through that kind of thing to help get through the depression?
Yeah, I mean, I've had depression all through my life. My mom was in a mental hospital a few times, so it's in the family.
Hmm.
Uh, I can't say I have not had any struggles with it for the last 2 years. I do believe that God has freed me from that.
Wow.
But I do believe these relationships have helped that. Because a lot of things with depression, we keep a lot of things in here. I've had a lot of things inside, and writing the book and has been therapy in so many ways. Writing is therapy for me in a lot of ways, whether it's in my journal or in my book writing or my blog writing. I love writing the blog still. And on Substack, just to write is therapy.
Nice. Tell everybody about your blog on Substack. Where can they find it and what's it about?
Well, I have my website, which is at a renewed creation.com is my website. Now I have several different blogs on there. I focus on um, like what God's doing in my relationship with him on a general blog, but I also have blogs on mentoring and discipleship and the disability advocacy. Some of the same stuff is on Substack. I'm going to be moving into doing some Bible studies and some, Q&As and some live things in the new year to connect with my readers a little more. So it'll be done a little differently on Substack than the website. Substack gives me an opportunity to do the lives there, um, as well as the social media.
Nice. I know that building discipleship is a key part of your life and of your faith. Have you found that writing the book has helped you to reach out to other people and maybe build discipleship and help you with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a kind of a continuation, really, because the new people I meet through the experience with the book, um, it just creates more connection, more opportunity for um, those types of conversations. What was it, September? I did, I was at a women's retreat doing some seminars and I got to do the morning devotions with over 200 women. I was so excited. It was one of my first opportunities to do this, but it gave me a chance to connect with them about some of the things that are in my book, but also some other things too. So it has opened up opportunities for me to have more of those connections and relationships. And that's really been wonderful.
Nice. I love hearing that. You mentioned earlier that marketing the book and getting the book out was, a little problematic and was one of the harder parts about this journey. How have you been marketing the book? Where have you marketed it?
Well, that's been the challenge too. I've joined my state. I live in Rhode Island, and they have an authors association. So I joined there. So when things come up, I try to participate in that. I do have my books in a couple of the independent bookstores, um, one in Rhode Island, one in Connecticut. And, I'm blogging, I'm doing the social media. I have sent packets to churches. Um, I've kind of done a little bit of everything, trying to get it out there, but I'm not as good at promoting my things as I am other people's. So I need to work on that. I've learned where I need to grow in
Hmm.
that too. And I just haven't had the budget to pay for beyond what I can do. So that's been challenging. So other people may not have the same kind of troubles if they're paying people to do some of the marketing. I just keep looking for different ways to do it um, and hopefully get to the place where I can pay someone
Sure,
to do some of it for me.
sure. Have you found any marketing avenue that has been a little bit better than the others?
Well, I think I call myself a relational marketer. So anytime I can talk to somebody about it, like whenever I can, anything that's personally relational, I think I do the best at. So whether it's face to face talking to the people, I need to do more videos because it helps people know who I am. When
Yeah.
people trust you, they're more apt to buy something from you and to trust what you're saying in your book. So you have to build relationship with your readers, really, and your audience. So that's an important part of marketing. And I think it's this is kind of a parallel in writing and marketing is that we think, like I think me sitting down writing is just writing. But there's so many aspects of the writing process, like taking those notes down when I think of something, or just scribbling something down and playing with something on paper, or even just when I pray about the book. Like there's so many aspects of the writing process. And it's the same thing with the marketing. So when I get to talk to somebody, just because I didn't sell the book doesn't mean I didn't do anything. And I have to get beyond that mentally. You know,
Right. Right. Exactly. I like that outlook. Just because I didn't sell the book doesn't mean I didn't do anything. I like that. That makes sense. Um, Let me ask you this. If you take out the money piece of this whole thing, um, what has to happen, or where do you have to be, or what do you have to achieve for you to feel like your book is a success?
well, honestly, if I went by that, I would think I would believe it was a success already, just because, and I went into it really thinking this, but thinking the things and believing them are two different things, you know? Um, because if it helps one person, then isn't it worth it, really? And so it's helped more than one person. I've had many people come back that have read it, many conversations come up, people being helped because someone else understood what they were going through. So on that end, if I think about it through that lens, it is a success.
I love that. That's a great answer. All right. I wish that all of us as authors could look at things that way. It would make things a lot easier for us. That's for sure. So, uh, I know one thing you've done a lot of is going on podcasts to talk about your book. I've seen you on a lot of different podcasts, including mine now twice. So, um, how has podcast guesting helped you with getting the book out there?
Well, I think it's helped me in a lot of ways. Actually, it's helped me keep going in the marketing because this is my favorite part, really. One of my favorite parts, I should say, because I've met so many different people and there there's so many things in this because I am deaf. Like I shouldn't be able to do this, you know? So the people who listen to me can be encouraged in so many ways. And it gives me an opportunity to talk about my story and the book. One thing I always ask God personally was if I had to go through things that I did, or if I had to learn things the hard way, that they wouldn't be wasted. And the podcast guesting is proof to me that it's not wasted. So it really has been such a joy for me. And I love meeting new people and being able to share and hear from the audiences. And so it's one of my favorite things. I think it's really been what's helped me keep going. And honestly, I wouldn't be able to do this if it hadn't been for Podmatch. I have to say that because um I had talked to somebody before I found out about Podmatch. They train you to learn how to talk about your book. They train you to do all those things and they make the podcast interviews for you. So, but it was still like $3,000 or $4,000. And I'm like, I can't do this, but I really want to do this, you know?
Wow.
And you can't, I don't know, you can't make things happen. But it was soon after that that I saw the thing about Podmatch. And as soon as I got on Podmatch, I've been able to do this. And I've probably been on almost 30 by now. it's so exciting and I have more coming. So
Nice.
I'm just it's just been the best thing for me in the marketing part.
I love that. Well, you're very good at it, and you're a very good guest. So I enjoy having you on my programs. I can tell you that. But all right, is there anything else you can tell us about the second book? Maybe when it's coming out, or anything else about what it's going to cover?
Well, I have no idea when it's coming out. It will not take as long as my first book. I do know that.
There you
No,
go.
no 8 years this time. Be because I keep getting, I feel like this one's rolling a little quicker, but I'm also taking what I learned from the first book into this. Like the first book, I felt like I had to have all the chapters together, all the chapter titles there, and then I could start writing. And right now, I really have the overview of the book, but even just the other day, I had something added to it. So I'm starting with the introduction and I'm just gonna let it go. I have, but I don't have everything figured out and it's okay. So I think I took a lot of time trying to understand how things need to be done. I have a lot of that behind me now. So I don't think it will take as long as I stay focused on the writing. It there's so many aspects to relationships, and community. I really want to talk about the need for community. And because we live in a society now that's so on our phones, we're on the computer, we are face to face is people don't even know how to be face to face sometimes, or how those past experiences for us actually hinder create, having that community in our lives. And there's a lot of things I've learned that way too. So I really want to, I think this one will be bigger too, actually, because I really want to hit why we're created for community. I want people to leave under seeing the hindrances so they can see why they're not having community in their own lives. To talk about the church a little bit and the different types of relationships. And there are so many types of relationships. So I really think it's going to be a bigger book too. And I think it's going to flow a lot faster. I think the first book for me was very just, I needed that time because I was still working through some of the things I wrote about.
Hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I uh, I love where your heart is all the time in doing what you do and in writing books and your discipleship and then just trying to help people. It's always inspiring to talk to you. So I appreciate you being as open and honest as you are all the time on my shows. I really love that. Um, as as we sort of bring this episode, in to get ready to close it up, let me ask you this: you've learned a lot in the publishing area, in writing your book, in getting it out there. Um, what is one really good piece of advice you can give to an author who is not yet published, who's not out there yet, that may help them to get where you are now?
Well, I want to say it isn't just for other people, it is for you. And people do need to hear your story. So just start writing and, take people's advice, research things, but know what your priorities are and make your own decision about it.
Nice. Great advice. Great advice. Do it for you. I like that. All right. Desiree, any parting thoughts for anybody who's listening right now? Anything you want to leave them with? And definitely your contact information first.
Well, you can find me over at my website, which is www.arenewedcreation.com. I'm on any of the socials. I think my parting words would be if you're feeling discouraged or you just need someone to talk to about the writing or anything like that, don't hesitate to reach out. I love when people reach out to me. So I'm happy to be here for anyone who wants to talk about it or who's just struggling in the process.
Love that. Nice offer and great way to close this up. Desiree, you were always an absolute pleasure to have on my show. Thank you for being here today. Absolutely loved it, and just thank you.
Thank you. I love being here.
Thank you. All right, folks, that has been another episode of the Right Path Podcast, where the truth still counts and words still have power. This is the place where authors know that every page is a step forward. So let's lift each other up, let's dust ourselves off, and let's move forward together.